Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I just got back from the store with my audio control processor. I got an LC2i Pro, and I was just kind of opening it up. I was reading the book and stuff like that, and figured that'd be a great opportunity to make a video, kind of just talking about the processor and why I like audio control honestly so much. They just do a lot of cool things. So with that being said, let's get into this and let me show you the processor. So this is the processor I got. Like I said, the LC2i Pro, and the main difference off the bat from the LC2i to the LC2i Pro is you do get the bass knob here and the RJ, I think it's RJ11 connector here that plugs into the back there, into the side over here. Another thing with the Pro, it's a lot smaller of a footprint. This is a lot skinnier than the previous, or like the regular model, I guess you would say. The features are all put right on the top of the casing. I don't know which one it was of these three, but I think there was two or so that you had to take off this casing and flip the switches on the actual board of the base, like the regular LC2i. On these, it's all moved to the front. The AccuBase here used to be on the side and like a little access window here that you had to get like a little screwdriver and adjust. So it's a lot nicer that it's right here on the front, easy to use, and you have the little indicator light now that I don't believe was on the base LC2i. Getting into some of the stuff here on the side, you do have your left and right positive negative speaker inputs. You have your base level control input there for that cord, and then you do have your remote out, say to run to some amplifiers, and your remote in, say if you're running a remote in to turn this piece on from a switch 12 volt source. Then you have your positive, current or constant 12 volt, and then your ground. Your power light indicator. You have your load select here, and what this is for is essentially some aftermarket, or not aftermarket, but like factory upgraded stereos. Like you have some have JBL, some have Bose, some have Harman Kardon. My car personally has Harman Kardon, so I'll have to see if they require a resistance load. But either way, you have 20 ohms, 60 ohms, or 20 kilo ohms. So set that accordingly to your radio or to your factory stereo if it applies. Your trigger mode, this is something really cool. This just has different ways that this LC2i turns on. You have your traditional remote in, say if you were going to run that switched 12 volt power in, you could do that. Or they have a GTO mode, which is what this does is as soon as your head unit turns on, whether it's your factory screen, whatever, as soon as that boots up, it senses the 12 volt signal from that booting up and will turn on then. Or you have your audio, which is as soon as you have audio signal hit in here, this processor here will turn on. Next thing you got ground isolation. Depending on if you have a common ground and everything is grounded, say to a distribution block or something along those lines, or a frame ground, everything ties back to the same place. You have it set to just your regular ground. If you have separate grounds, that's where you do the ISO. And I believe from what I was reading, the 200 hertz is only if you still have noise at that point. That's meant to counteract some of that. Getting into the AccuBase, what this will do is some factory head units and some factory stereos, they'll limit the amount of bass output at a higher volume. So you'll get to like 65 or 70% volume and your bass will plateau. The door speakers will get louder, but you'll notice your bass doesn't get any louder. What this will do is your threshold allows you to set where on that kind of curve does that need to kick in at. At 50% volume or signal input, does that need to turn on and start boosting some of that signal to put the bass back into it? And then the level there, that's just to set how much bass is getting added back on that curve accordingly. That yellow light here, that'll just turn on whenever the AccuBase is active. So that'll let you know you're above that threshold, or you're just giving that extra bass. Or you're not extra bass, but you're adding that bass back into the signal that's been removed. Down here, you have your outputs. So you have your bass output with your level adjust for that, and you'll see your maximized light there. That'll blink when the channel is maximized. Same thing here for your main output, and this is a really cool feature on this processor. Not only do you have your bass output, but you do also have a full range left and right output if you're, say, running a 2-channel to run a set of doors, like left and right doors, or even if you're going to run, 4 doors in your car, you can have your left and right, but you just won't have that true like fade and balance where you get that left to right, front and rear, you know. But either way, you could do that way and have this whole processor run doors and a subwoofer and complete your entire stereo. On the side here, you do have your outputs, just your RCA outputs to go to either amp there, whether you are running just a bass amplifier or if you do end up running both, to have left and rights. And now, since my car has the Harman Kardon stereo, I didn't really intend on, you know, changing all the door speakers, changing the speakers entirely. I didn't plan on touching that. But with this being an option on this, I might just do my front 2 doors and leave everything else just on the Harman Kardon stereo. It sounds great the way it is. I doubt that 115 would really overpower the door speakers and just the musical aspect of the stereo the way it is. But I do think I would like to throw some Rockford door speakers in there. I just happen to love these speakers, and I'm gonna go out to the car and I'm gonna show you guys kind of what I'm thinking about. All right, out here at my car, the door panel, mind it's dirty. I haven't cleaned my car in a while, but 1 6.5 down there. I was gonna put a Rockford tweeter up there. I do have like a 2-inch there, like a 4-inch mid speaker, another tweeter up over there, and then the other door. Don't mind the mess. That's actually something cool. I can show you guys this in a second. But some other distribution blocks, LEDs, you know, just 0 gauge lugs. But yeah, so that's my plan. I was either gonna have those run off of like a 200, like a 402 or like a 404 bridged or something. It kind of just depends on what fits best. I was gonna do a panel kind of to hold the LC2i and the converters and stuff like the crossovers, which I can show you. I don't have one out here. I can put a picture of them up in the video here in a second. I can take a picture of them. But I was gonna do a panel like right in the opening when the seats drop down. I did it in my sister's car a couple years ago. I can put a picture of what that looked like here. I'll show you guys that. Obviously it'll be a little different, but that's kind of the idea I'm thinking about sticking with. It'd be something simple, and it would just kind of finish the back of the car off so you don't just see into the back of the box and stuff like that. But I think that's pretty much the update and the plan on kind of what I'm going to do with that. As for the box is coming together pretty good. I have kind of the sides coming together, getting mocked up in here. I have those 2 panels here, the 1-wire run. I do want to put some distribution on the back side of the box as well. So I think that would honestly just be hidden away behind that trim panel. But this is how the box is right now. This is all hardened up very good. It's all solid. I got to come in here, body filler this still, you know, and sand that down and get it ready to carpet. But that's about where I'm at. All right, so this is what was in that tube that I just showed you guys in my car. It's a Diamore Engineering VU DIY LED board. Essentially what this does is you got a couple different settings right up in here, you know, that do a couple different things. There's a little book that, you know, describes everything for how you're setting it up. But then you have your positive, remote, and ground. Then you have your audio input. And what it does is, based off your sensitivity, in your settings, it runs off of a VU meter reading, and it breaks it up into 11 different sections, or all LED positives, you know, so that goes in there, and then you break it off by negatives. So you have all your positives in the end one there, and then every negative gets put off on each different channel here. So what that does is that gives you 11 channels of LED output that responds differently and like corresponding to the signal you're giving it. So when you hook up this to music and you get to a high volume and you have a lot of output on the bass, for instance, if you hook this up to the audio input from the bass amplifier, you'll end up with the lights going off. And I actually had this set up as like a double VU bar at the bottom of my old S10. I know it sounds a little funny. I'll put a video here to kind of show you what I'm talking about. But this is what that's used for, and this is super cool. I can't wait to find something to do with this in my car. Well, thank you guys for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.